Left behind today, the cold wind moved through the dead trees. The sky was dark and the ground was wet with old blood. Deep inside the forest, a group of aliens walked quickly. Their armor was scratched, their faces tired. They were soldiers, but not kind ones. Behind them walked a human. He limped, holding his side. His uniform was torn, and blood covered his hand. His name was Cole. "Keep moving, human," one alien said, pushing him forward. Cole didn't speak. He just walked. Pain burned in his body, but his eyes were calm. Too calm. The group stopped near a broken fence. The trees here were thicker, louder. Something was moving inside. "This is it," the alien commander said. "This is where we leave you." Cole looked around. "What do you mean?" Another alien laughed. "You're bait now." They threw a small bag at his feet. Inside was a half-empty water bottle, one knife, and some energy bars. "You want to live?" "Survive the night," the commander said with a smile. "The monsters will come. If they eat you, we escape. If not, well, maybe we'll see you again." Cole didn't beg. He didn't scream. He just picked up the bag, slowly. His fingers were shaking, but his face stayed hard. The aliens turned and left, their boots making soft sounds as they disappeared into the trees. Soon Cole was alone, very alone. He looked around. The forest was quiet now. Too quiet. He sat down under a large tree and opened the water bottle. Just a few sips. Not much. He checked the knife. Small but sharp. The air changed. He could feel it, like something was watching him. Something big. His heart beat faster, but he forced himself to stay still. Suddenly, a branch snapped. Not far away. Cole stood up, moving behind the tree. He held the knife tight. Every shadow now looked like it was alive. He remembered what they said about these monsters. Big. Fast. No mercy. Another sound. This time closer. Then, silence. Then, breathing. Deep. Heavy. Right behind the tree. Cole held his breath. Sweat ran down his face. He didn't move. The breathing stopped. Slowly, he turned his head. Just a little. A dark shape stood behind the tree. Tall, more than 7 feet. Skin like cracked stone. Red eyes glowing in the night. The monster sniffed the air. It was looking for him. Cole knew he had seconds. He looked around. Broken branches on the ground. A sharp rock nearby. He grabbed the rock quietly, hiding it in his other hand. The monster stepped closer, claws out. Mouth open. Cole's mind went quiet. No fear now. Just focus. As the monster moved around the tree, Cole jumped. He threw the rock at its face and slashed with the knife. The rock hit its eye. It roared. Cole ran. He didn't know where. He was going, just away. The forest came alive, birds flew out. More growls echoed around him. More than one. He ran until his legs gave out. He fell into a hole covered by old leaves. He didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just listened. The monster passed above him. It didn't see him. It kept going. Cole lay, there shaking, but alive. Night fell deeper. Cold, dark, dangerous. He waited. For hours. Listening. Planning. He was hurt. Alone. Betrayed. But inside him, something was changing. They left him to die. But he was not dead. Not yet. The first kill. Night grew colder. The wind howled through the trees like whispers of the dead. The leaves no longer moved. They watched. Hidden in a shallow pit, Cole waited. Blood still ran from his arm, but his eyes were wide open. Every sound echoed in his skull. Every breath he took was slow, silent, but he was still alive. They left him to die. Not just the aliens, but his own team. They saw him as weak, injured, useless. just another human. Just more bait, but inside him something had changed. No more running. A deep growl rolled through the trees. Low. Hungry. The monster was back. Cole didn't move. He let the sound pass through him like wind. His hand tightened around the knife. He only had one chance. The creature was close. Too close. He could hear the soft crush of dirt under its feet. Slow steps. It was looking for him again. It had his scent now. Cole waited. Then, another sound, a strange rhythm, like scratching. It was marking territory. No, it was calling the others. There were more coming. He had to act now. He moved slowly, crawling from the pit, pressing his body low against the cold ground. His eyes scanned the forest floor. Branches, rocks, broken armor pieces, all worthless. Then he saw it, a jagged metal rod sticking from a fallen drone. He reached it just as the creature's shadow passed by. His hand wrapped around the rod. It was heavy, sharp at one end. He turned. The monster was right there, 8 feet tall, hunched over, its mouth open to reveal rows of curved teeth like broken glass, eyes glowing like dying stars. Its skin was thick, black, covered in scars. It wasn't just a hunter. It was a survivor. And so was Cole. The creature roared and lunged. Cole didn't back down. He rolled aside and stabbed upward, the metal rod driving deep into the monster's leg. It screamed and swung wildly. Claws tore through Cole's shoulder, sending him crashing into a tree. Pain exploded through his chest. He couldn't breathe. The monster came again. This time, Cole didn't run. He picked up the broken drone's engine, core, still faintly glowing. He threw it at the monster's face. It exploded in a small flash of light and heat. The creature reeled back, shrieking. Cole jumped forward, knife raised. He drove the blade into its neck, then twisted. The monster slammed into the ground, taking Cole with it. They rolled, fists and claws slashing in the dark. Dirt flew, bones cracked. Finally, with a scream of rage, Cole used the metal rod again, this time through the eye. The forest went quiet. The monster didn't move. Cole crawled back, breathing hard, soaked in blood. Not all of it his. He stared at the body. Big, brutal, unstoppable, now dead. He had killed it. A human, injured, alone, but still standing. He fell to his knees, not in fear, not in weakness, in silence, in change. He looked at his hands, shaking, red, raw, then at the trees. More were out there. More would come. But now he wasn't just bait. He was dangerous. And they would learn. One by one, suddenly something beeped. Faint, buried under leaves. He searched and found a small alien tracking chip. It blinked once every few seconds. They were watching. They wanted to see if he'd die. He smiled. A small, cold smile. Then he crushed it under his boot. They wouldn't be watching anymore. They'd be praying. Cole picked up the rod, cleaned the knife on his shirt, and stood. His legs hurt. His ribs were broken. But his mind was sharp now. This forest was no longer his prison. It was his hunting ground, and he was no longer prey. Learning to hunt dawn never came in this forest. The sky remained dark, like it too feared what walked beneath it. Mist curled between the trees, soft and cold, like breath on the back of your neck. In the heart of this darkness, Cole stood alone, staring at the corpse of the creature he had killed. Its body had stopped twitching hours ago, but the smell remained. Blood, ash, and something older. Something ancient, a warning to others. He didn't bury it. He left it out in the open. A message. They sent him in as bait. Weak, broken, disposable. But now they had no idea what they had unleashed. Cole moved through the forest with new eyes. Every broken branch told a story. Every shadow whispered a direction. He no longer ran. He watched. He listened. He learned. He climbed a tree and waited. High above the ground, his heartbeat matched the wind. Slow. Steady. Below, two creatures moved. Together, smaller than the alpha he'd killed, but quicker. Hunting as a pair, he could see their pattern. One circled wide, the other pushed prey forward. Clever, but not clever enough. He had set a trap. Hours ago, Cole had sharpened branches and covered them in mud to hide the shine. He placed them in a ditch, under leaves. Not deep, just enough to cripple. Now, he whistled. Just once. It echoed perfectly. The monsters froze. One turned. The other charged toward the sound. Cole dropped from the tree like a ghost and threw a rock to draw its path. It took the bait. Snap. The ground gave way. The trap swallowed the creature whole, spikes piercing its legs and chest. It shrieked, clawing at the edges. The other monster roared and ran toward its partner. But Cole was already there. He swung the metal rod, now wrapped with torn wire for grip, and struck its knee. Bone cracked. The creature fell. He leapt onto its back and drove his knife into its neck again and again. Then, silence. He breathed hard, chest burning, muscles shaking. But he was alive. Again. And they were not. He dragged the bodies near the one he killed last night. 3 corpses now. 1 hunter. 1 man. He looked at the sky. No sun. No light. Just a new day in a world that had forgotten him. Days passed. Maybe more. Time didn't exist here. Only survival. Cole built a small camp in a cave hidden behind thick vines. He used stones to block the entrance when he slept. Not for safety, for control. No one got in unless he let them. He collected alien scraps from the drones that once flew above. Wires, batteries, even a damaged pulse beacon. Broken tech, useless to most. But he wasn't most. He was learning. The monsters weren't just beasts. They had a pattern. They had a leader. The alpha he killed. But someone else was watching. Guiding them. And he had a feeling who? The aliens. Who left him here? They weren't watching anymore, not directly. But he had crushed only one tracker. Who knew how many others they'd planted? No matter. They would see what he wanted them to see. On the 5th night, he painted. Not with colors, with blood. He used monster claws to carve symbols into the trees. Not human symbols. Their symbols. He remembered some from the aliens' gear. He mixed monster blood with mud and smeared it across bark, rocks, and even bones. The forest changed. The monsters avoided those marks. They feared them. Cole smiled. He wasn't just learning to hunt them. He was learning to command fear. One night, he found something new, a human body. Fresh, not killed by a monster. The wounds were clean. Surgical, a scout. Someone had been sent to check if he was still alive. He searched the body, found a small comm device and a message chip. It said only one thing. Status report. Is the bait still alive? Cole stared at the words, then crushed the chip underfoot. They still thought he was bait. How blind they were. That night, Cole made a new kind of trap. Not for monsters, for those who sent them. He knew they would return. Maybe to finish him. Maybe to cover their mistake. Maybe just to watch him die. But they would come. And when they did, they'd find the forest quiet. Too quiet. Until the screaming started. The alpha. Arrives the wind had changed. It was colder now, but not the kind of cold that touched your skin. This cold settled in the bones. It made birds vanish. It made trees stop swaying. It made even the monsters hide. Something new had entered the forest. Something worse. Cole felt it before he heard it. Before he smelled it. He felt it in the way the shadows stretched longer than they should. In the way the ground no longer welcomed his steps. Even the forest feared this one. He climbed a tree, high and silent, and waited. Hours passed. Maybe more. Then, a sound. Not a roar. Not a growl. Just breathing. Deep. Slow. Heavy. Like something that had never known fear. Never needed to run, only to follow and kill. Cole didn't move. He saw it between the trees. A shadow. At first. Then shape. Huge. Taller than the last alpha. Shoulders like armored stone. Claws like spears. Its face was different too. No rage in it. Only calm. Cold. Intelligent. This was no mindless monster. This was a commander. This was the real alpha. Cole didn't blink. He knew this one wouldn't fall for traps. It had watched from afar. It had waited until its pack was dead. Now it wanted to see who had killed them and why. For 2 nights, the alpha stalked him, never attacking, never getting too close. Just watching. Cole left signs behind, trails fake, camps, bodies posed like warnings, but the alpha didn't follow them. It followed him. It learned him, just as he had once learned the others. Now the roles were reversed. Cole had become the prey again, but not the same prey, not helpless, not afraid, just patient. On the 3rd day, Cole found a fresh kill, not a monster, an alien soldier, ripped open, spine removed, not eaten, left as a message. The alpha wasn't just hunting him, it was sending signals. I can reach you. I can reach them. No one is safe. Cole understood the message clearly. This wasn't about food anymore. This was about respect and territory and revenge. He returned to the cave that night, but didn't go inside. He sat near the entrance, back to the wall, metal rod across his lap, waiting. His breath was calm, his heartbeat steady. In front of him, a fire burned low, not for warmth, but for light. He wanted the alpha to see him, wanted it to know. I'm not hiding. And just before midnight, it came. No roar, no footsteps. It simply stepped into the light, out of the shadows like it had always been there, face to face with Cole, 10 feet away. Their eyes met. Silence. For a full minute, neither moved. Then the alpha tilted its head. Curious. Cole stood. He didn't lift his weapon. Not yet. The alpha stepped closer. Cole felt the pressure in his chest. Not from fear, but from the sheer force of this creature's presence. Then it did something unexpected. It spoke. Not in words, but in sound. Low clicks and rumbles, like language passed through broken rock. But he understood one thing clearly. You are not weak. Then, it growled again, deeper, a challenge, prove it, and leapt. The fight was not fast, not clean. It was war. Stone against fire, claw against steel. Every blow shook the earth. Cole was thrown into trees, slammed against rocks, sliced by claws faster than thought. But he didn't fall. He bled. Yes. But he stood. Again and again. Every hit he took was answered. A stab. A strike. A scream. He wasn't fighting like a man. He was fighting like something older, something primal, something broken, and reborn. The alpha pinned him once, claws inches from his throat. Cole spat blood in its face. It hesitated. He drove his knife into its side. They rolled. They roared. Until finally, Cole saw the moment. The small shift, the half-second opening. He didn't think. He moved, and with all his weight, all his strength, all his fury, he snapped its neck. The sound echoed through the forest like thunder. Then, silence. Again, the alpha twitched once, then lay still. Cole fell beside it, gasping, coughing, barely able to lift his arm. But he was alive. He looked at the body, not with pride, not with hate, just understanding. You were the best of them. But now, Even the best had fallen. He stood, bloody and broken, dragged the Alpha's body through the trees and left it at the edge of the forest, where the aliens first left him, where they thought he would die. He dropped the body in the dirt, looked up at the hidden cameras, and said just 3 words, "Send another one," then walked back into the trees, not as bait, not as a man, but as a force. Snapped neck. The sky above the alien outpost was bright, too bright. White lights buzzed over metal towers and armored vehicles. Soldiers walked stiffly, watching the trees beyond the fence. Weapons ready. Voices low. They were nervous. The forest was only a few miles away, but it felt like another world now. Something had changed inside it. Something they couldn't see. But they could feel it. The commander stood in the control room, arms crossed behind his back. Cold, sharp eyes stared at the screen in front of him. A live feed showed the edge of the forest, the drop point where they had left the human behind weeks ago, the same spot where nothing had moved in days, until now, a body had appeared. Huge, muscular, neck broken, dragged out and dropped like trash. The Alpha, dead, and beside it, something written on a broken piece of metal. "You left me." He didn't. The room was silent. No one spoke. No one breathed. The commander turned to his second-in-command. "Send a retrieval team." "Sir? Are you sure? If he's still—" "We trained him. We gave him weapons. He was nothing without us." But his voice shook at the end. He didn't believe his own words. The retrieval team left in armored transports. 6 elite alien soldiers. Full body gear. Pulse rifles. Drones flying overhead. They were the best. They entered the forest just before sunset. They never reached the body. Cole watched from above, from the trees. He had moved the Alphas' body to lure them in, and they came like he knew they would, like they always did. He let them walk into the first trap, a vine snap that dropped 2 of them into a spike pit. Quick, silent. The others froze, shouted, fired into the dark. But the dark didn't answer. He moved with the mist. Fast, silent, a shadow with teeth. One by one they fell, not with loud fights, but with whispers, with knives, with fire. The last one begged, tried to speak, tried to say, "We didn't know." Cole leaned close, his face inches away. "You knew." Then, a snap, not loud, but final. He walked out of the trees at dawn, dragging 3 rifles, 2 helmets, and the broken comm unit from the lead soldier. At the edge of the base, just outside the shield wall, he stopped. He placed the helmets in a row, each with a blood mark down the center. Then he looked up and smiled. Inside the base, alarms screamed. Visual contact, Sector 7, it's him, he's outside. Troops scrambled, turrets turned, rifles clicked. But he didn't attack. He just stood there, arms by his sides, calm, like a storm before the lightning. The commander rushed to the screen. Cole stared straight into the camera. His eyes were quiet, dead quiet. But behind them, fire. The commander whispered, "He's not human anymore." Later that night, the base went dark for 17 minutes. No one knows why. Some say it was a power failure. Some say it was sabotage. Others say that something walked through the fence, past the guards and into the commander's room. When the lights returned, the commander was dead, his neck broken, clean, cold, and written on the wall with the commander's own blood, "Not bait, not prey, not yours." The high command tried to cover it up, tried to say it was a glitch, a system error, a technical fault. But soldiers started talking. Stories spread like fire, of a human left behind, of monsters who died by his hands, of an Alpha whose neck he snapped, like a twig, and now, of a man who hunts in silence and kills in darkness, not for revenge, but for balance. They stopped calling him by name. Now, they called him something else. The ghost in the trees. The weapon that turned around. The death we made ourselves. Cole didn't care what they called him. He walked deeper into the forest now, calm, focused. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was preparing, because he knew one thing for sure. This wasn't over. They would come again with more soldiers, more machines, more monsters. And next time they wouldn't just send him in as bait, they would send in armies. And when they did, he would be waiting, not as a victim, not even as a man, but as the thing they feared most. The one who came back and never left. The returnant began with whispers, first in the lower ranks, soldiers talking in mess halls, security teams checking, motion sensors twice, then 3 times. Machines picked up shadows with no heat signatures, motion in areas where no life signs were recorded. The whispers moved upward. Commanders requested tighter patrols. Officers stayed close to guarded areas. No one said his name, but everyone knew. He was back. The alien empire had forgotten Cole, thrown him into a forest of monsters and moved on. One dead human meant nothing to them. But now, he was a problem they couldn't explain, a myth they couldn't kill, a mistake they couldn't bury. On a moon base far from the forest, 5 high-ranking alien generals met behind closed doors, cold steel walls, war maps projected in mid-air, data feeds flashing red, body cam footage from the failed recovery squad. One video looped on screen, a helmet falling to the ground, a shadow passing by, a neck breaking, then static. One general spoke, voice sharp like broken glass. "We should send in a kill squad, wipe out the entire region, no survivors. Burn the forest." Another shook his head. "And what if he's not in the forest anymore?" Silence. Then a new voice. Soft, slow, terrified. "He is in the system." They were right. Cole had left the forest days ago, silently, quietly, without alarms, without cameras catching him. He didn't just return to the edge of their world. He walked straight through it, in plain sight. In the crowded trade district of an alien city, lights flickered. People rushed past street markets and neon signs. Music blasted. Ships flew overhead. Security drones scanned faces. No one noticed the man in the dark coat, blood on his boots, a scar across his temple, eyes like stone. He didn't speak, just watched, memorized, routes, doors, names. He was building something in his mind, something exact, something fatal. In a luxury tower above the city, one of the alien lords responsible for the bait mission sipped his drink. Smug, untouchable, until he found a box in his room. Just a small one, no noise, no threat, just a box. Inside it, a broken claw from the Alpha and a human dog tag. His drink slipped from his hand. He didn't sleep that night or the next. Cole moved through stations, camps, outposts, always one step ahead, always watching. He didn't kill many. Not yet. He left marks, not symbols carved into metal. Blood drawn in shapes only the aliens would recognize. Ancient symbols of warning. Messages they didn't want others to see. But soldiers saw them anyway, and they started to ask questions. Who did we leave in that forest? Why hasn't anyone stopped him? Why are our leaders so afraid of one man? Then one day Cole entered a camp at night, walked straight into it. No one stopped him. Some soldiers aimed their weapons, but didn't shoot. They had heard the stories, and some of them believed, not in fear, but in respect. He went to the command tent, stood in front of the ranking officer, a young alien captain who hadn't even been part of the original mission. Cole placed something on the table, data chip in a small cloth bag. The captain opened the chip first. Video files. Recordings. Proof of betrayal. The original mission log, where Cole had been listed as expendable asset. The bag, it contained the rank insignia of the officers who abandoned him. Their ranks, and nothing else. The captain looked up, shaken. "What do you want?" he asked. Cole answered softly. "Truth. Names. Access." A quiet war began that night, not of guns, but of loyalty. Some soldiers deleted files, some opened gates, some gave him routes, codes, maps, pretending they saw nothing. Others whispered about him like he was a ghost. Some began to believe he wasn't even human anymore. But something worse. Something righteous. Back on the moon base, the last remaining general of the original bait operation received a message. No sender, no encryption, just a single line. I am walking toward you now. He tried to flee. He never made it off the moon. His body was found in the airlock, eyes open, neck broken and carved into the wall. You made me. Cole didn't disappear after that. He didn't hide. He stood on a battlefield, silent, watching dropships land. He let them see him. Because now he wasn't the secret. He was the signal, not bait. A warning. The galaxy moved on. Wars rose and fell. Governments changed. Borders shifted. Ships flew between stars and cities burned bright with life. But behind all that light was a shadow. His name was no longer spoken, only felt in whispers, in the cold sweat before sleep, in silence after gunfire. Cole had become a myth, and myths in this galaxy were far more dangerous than armies. The High Command tried to erase him. Files deleted, officers silenced, whole missions rewritten. They said the bait project was never real. They said no human was left behind. But soldiers remembered. Whispers spread. And every time another leader vanished, necks snapped, eyes wide, and the fear grew louder. He's still out there. He hasn't stopped. Then, one day, something impossible happened. A massive transmission broadcasted across 10 systems at once, uncoded, untraceable. No face, just a voice. Cold, clear, human. Cole's voice. To those who left me. You built monsters in the dark and thought they would obey. You called me weak, disposable, bait. I became the thing you feared most. And now, every time you lie, every time you cover the truth, I will be there, not to punish, but to remind, never again. The broadcast ended, but it left scars. Fear spread through ranks that had never tasted defeat. On distant colonies, military statues were painted over, red marks across their chests. In the capital city of the alien homeworld, an entire council hall was found empty one morning. No struggle, no alarm, just one word carved into the council table. Enough. Cole didn't stop with revenge. He started something bigger. He moved between broken worlds, between forgotten war zones, not to kill, but to wake them up. He spoke to soldiers no one respected. He freed prisoners buried in illegal labs. He exposed files on entire hidden operations, showing who gave the orders to use humans as bait. He didn't want to rule. He wanted them to see what they had become, and he wanted them to be afraid of it. Some called him a terrorist. Some called him a ghost. But the people, they called him something else, the reckoning. On one burned-out planet, Cole stood before a crowd of ex-soldiers and broken machines. Rain fell hard. The sky cracked with thunder. He held up a data core, filled with evidence of experiments, betrayals, murder. This is not justice, he said. This is the truth you were never meant to see. And then, he burned it, not to hide it, but to free them from needing it. You already know what they are, he said. Now choose who you will be. The alien empires began to fracture from within, not from war, but from memory. Memory of what they did. Memory of what came back. A single human, left to die, who became the mirror they couldn't escape. Cole was seen one last time, years later, on the ruins of an abandoned warship orbiting a dead world. He sat quietly looking out at the stars. No weapons, no armor, just peace. Someone asked him, "Are you done?" He didn't answer right away. Then finally he said, "They know now. I was never bait. I was the warning. The end."